I name and claim that nothing's ever lost. I love it when we get to do songs and talks for ourselves. Name it and claim it, nothing's ever lost. All right, so this is the month that we do our abundance program, and I've been telling you to get ready for it, and here we are. So I just want to set up a little bit that to get to this day, there's a number of things that happen. First, I have a team of people who meet in October, and we begin by visioning. Visioning is a process whereby we just open ourselves up to the greatest vision that wants to come through this particular time with this particular program. And it is always so mind-blowingly ordinary that it works so synchronistically. It's so fun to go, ooh, on the visioning, look what I'm feeling, and look what I'm seeing, and it all comes together. So I had a team of people who have been visioning before we planned, but then lots of planning. So first I'd like to acknowledge the team. Those of you who are here, if you will please stand so that we can acknowledge you. All right. We have Mary Calvin, Becky Moore, Richard Rosenberg, Susie Davies, Janet Seiberg, and two people who aren't here, Dennis Bryan and Bonnie DeCecco, have all been part of the team helping me bring this together. So yes, thank you. We want to acknowledge that. The reason that we do a whole month of this abundance program is when I set my intentions for my team the very first day. In this order, the very first thing is education with the intention to transform your life. Okay, to teach you the principles at such a deep, basic way that you get the feeling that you're being educated so you can transform. The second one is so that we can move from living in fear and limitation to living instead in faith and abundance and generosity. The third reason that we do it is so that we are expanding our abundance consciousness, individually and collectively. And the fourth reason is for us to set intentions of how we will support Harmony Center for Spiritual Living. That's why we do this, and that's why we spend a whole month doing it. I want to let you know what my personal inspiration is for all these talks, in case you want to buy this book. I've used it before, I will use it again. I recommend it to the nth degree. It is Eric Butterworth's Spiritual Economics. This man resonates with me so much. He is a unity minister, or was, and just beautiful, beautiful understanding of spiritual economics. And so if anybody is so inclined, there it is. All right, and also letting you know that every single week will unfold and build on the previous week. So in each section, as we go along, you're going to get more of the truth revealed. Okay, so today we just start with square one, which we are calling the first note. I took piano lessons when I was 8 years old. So I'm going to tell you my very personal story. 8 years old, I'm thinking this is going to be pretty exciting. Mrs. Payton, my mom, got arranged for me to be my piano teacher. And I'm all ready to play some songs. I'm thinking this is going to be really cool. So I walk in, 8 years old, third grader. Walk in, and I'm all excited. First of all, Mrs. Payton was just a little scary. She was like, traditional image of a schoolmarm. Kind of dark circles under her eyes. Kind of terse looking. And I'm like, oh. And I'm just a kid that likes to play. Anyway, so I sit down, I go into my very first piano lesson, all excited to do something. And she says, here's your first lesson, you have to learn the first note. There it is. Middle C. I'm like, wow, really? When do I get to play some songs? How many of you play music? You? So if you don't know that, let me tell you, middle C, why it's so important. Why middle C is, everything to the right of it is called the treble clef. And everything is placed, the notes are placed on that staff. Those 5 lines are a staff, and that's the treble clef that you see right there. All the notes are placed on those lines or spaces from here up. From here down, it's called the bass. And you know what's really messed up, in my opinion? Is that they're not placed on the same place of the lines when you go down here. It's like 0 and plus or minuses. So what a D looks like in that and what a D looks like in this don't look the same. I would change that if I was writing music. I'd make a D look like a D no matter which hand you're playing. The high notes go up, and on here the high notes go to the right. Let's not get any more confusing.
We'll see.
So, first note, that's why we called it this, first note. Probably that day I also learned the names of all the other ones, and I don't have cute little pictures, but I learned that that's a C, that's a D, that's an E, F, G, A, B, C, and it starts over again. And I probably learned to go like this. Not even a full scale, because you got to learn how to tuck your thumb for that. So, just that first 5 notes, and learn what this looks like. Okay, that's a C, and you have to learn this new language, right? It's a whole new language, and like any other language, music has its own. Not very exciting for a first lesson. I'm like, man, that's it? I get to learn middle C? I get to learn the first note? Not too exciting, but what I came to understand, a very necessary foundation. And so we're using this analogy today of first note and applying it to our spiritual understanding, our spiritual teaching. First note. I can't just tell you live an abundant life. I can't just tell you give freely. I can't just tell you receive fully. Open your arms. Don't be afraid. I can't just tell you that. Well, sometimes I try. But it helps to lay the foundation of what it is that or how it is that we get to that place of giving freely and receiving fully. So in this application of what we're doing, the very first note would be God is the one and only source. Let that get indelibly imprinted in your heart. Because that right there, God is the one and only source. You've heard it before, you will hear it again, but until we live from that place, we're going to hear it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And the fact that maybe everybody doesn't get it right away is job security for me. So that's because if you got it, maybe we wouldn't all have to be here. We come together in community, but you get my humor. God is the one and only source. First note. That's middle C in our spiritual understanding. God is the one and only source. Period. Now let me tell you what Ernest Holmes says about God. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. This is from the glossary in the Science of Mind textbook. God, the first cause, the great I am, the one and only Spirit, or the creative energy, which is the cause of all visible things. The truth, which is real, the principle, which is dependable. Very different, if you're kind of new here, from the God you hear in other churches. Yes? Because you're not told that God is out there in the sky. I'm not telling you, Ernest Holmes isn't telling us about some man with a big white beard who has all power. We're not telling you that there's a God that's going, you're a good girl, so I'm going to answer your prayer, and you're a bad boy, so on you. That's not the God we're talking about here. I'm not talking about the God that says, if you don't do what I want you to, I'm sending you to some really dark, hot place. That's what a lot of us grew up with, and I'm over-dramatizing it, of course. But this description of God, for some people, is brand new. For some of you, it's like you're already living this, and that's cool. So keep your mind in the beginner's place to hear it again. First cause. The first cause. Now, Richard, if you'll go to the next one, I isolated this piece. Spirit, or the creative energy, which is the cause of all visible things. There it is. Which is the cause of all visible things. Take it in. Take it in deeper than you ever have before. The cause of all visible things. So everything that we see, that we look at, comes from the one. Everything that we can't see comes from the one. But everything. So when I say the word abundance, it's every single thing. It includes the trees on our planet. It includes the grains of sand, as Ernest Holmes likes to say. It includes the breath and the air that we live with. It includes our resources. It includes our money. It includes people, animals. I'm not going to spend my whole talk telling you what it includes. Everything. We can let that go dark. When it comes to things like resources and abundance and prosperity and money is where most people separate. That's not God. Yeah. Yes, it is. So we need to quit separating. I know that if I said